Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Sunday, July 30th, 2017, and I promise I can read. And why is it over there? I don't... Very confusing day today. Okay. Let's just get into it. Let's not dwell on it too long. Yeah, GTX 460 would be better than most iGPUs. Maybe the latest Iris Pro might edge it out slightly, but I think for the most part it should all be should be faster than anything else in the market. I should look at this. So list of NVIDIA GPUs. 400 series, so 460. Is about a teraflop. Yeah, it's about a teraflop. I think the fastest Iris Pro are 800. Hey, welcome to the chat. I'm gonna try to pronounce his name. ODMNDS. I don't really know how I'd pronounce it other than just the letters. I'm guessing there's some drop vowels in there. 5th gen Intel iGPU has no OpenCL. OD, okay. 5th gen Intel iGPU should have OpenCL. I know they dropped it for Knight's Fair or Knight's Landing. Oh. Oh, Clark. Oh. I thought you meant 5th gen. Okay. I thought you meant like 5th gen core processors, which would be Broadwell. Not having. Oh, okay. Yeah. Clark. Yeah, that's old. Yeah. No. Okay. Because newer ones from Intel HD 4000 and up have OpenCL. Okay, so okay, yeah, that's right. 5th gen, yeah. Okay, cool. 5th gen GPUs, not 5th gen cores, and the GPU on them, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what we're working on today is more of the same. So Battle Cross Streams. This is the map that we've been working on lately, trying to decorate. How was the weekend? It happened. At some point I'm going to figure out what's going on with the shadow maps, because it wants to keep rebuilding lights. That light needs to be rebuilt. Where's Tim Hortons? I went to McDonald's today for that, for the coffee. Just a McDonald's McCafe thingy. The Tim Hortons and the McDonald's are actually roughly the same distance, but due to some weird construction stuff, it's quicker to go to McDonald's for the next couple weeks. Because I have to go around McDonald's to get to it. Or walk through a ditch. Anyway. So we're slowly working on building up the little chunk of the castle you can see here, with the two kings and the queen. There's gonna be this big courtyard with the path that goes this way. I'll probably make it a road path. Okay, so this is where we're going to end up showing it to you in game. So when we actually launch the game, it's still a debug build, so the frame rate, actually not going to be able to see the frame rate because camera would be underneath it. Now you will. So the frame rate's going to be not nearly as high as it should be, but because there's the bug symbols and all that kind of crap running on in it. So it's a spawn number 1, which is 6 o'clock position. Spawn 2 is the 3 o'clock position over here. They're diagonally symmetric. Every piece in the level is perfectly positioned, such as the same diagonal position away. And over here, of course, is the waterfall that I keep talking about. Waterfalls. There's another waterfall up here. And another one down the airway, again symmetric. Everything is perfectly symmetric between the spawn 1, spawn 2, but spawn 3 on the other hand is asymmetric. So if we go up to the weather vane and then cut north, we then have this third spawn we were showing as well in the in editor. And how the game works is everything goes by king range. So when it's your move, your king or whatever your control piece is, I can actually make any piece a control piece. It's all based on a token estate that I modify, and each of the subclasses just sets a default for that, so I don't have to set the content browser link to the mesh each time, although I can override it and it'll work just fine. So everything's based on king range, so if I move my king to the side here, I'll slowly work my way towards the stables. And eventually my knights will be in range. One of them it will, and then the other one will after. Over here, should be this move. Yeah. This one's in range, so I can move it there, there, or there. And this one here, I can't move because it's out of range. So I have to move my king one further over. Now this is in range, so I can of this spot here, so I can move it one more place. And this one's in range over here, so I can move it over here if I want. And the idea is you want to collect an army and move it around the map tactically. And there's no fog of war, at least not default. So you can see where everything is in the map and how it's moving. Because it's all about logistics, right? It's The point of this game is not information asymmetry like chess. It's designed to be, you know, just tactical, right? The bigger army you have, the slower it'll move, depending on the piece, you know, itself. Like a pawn's gonna move very slowly. A queen can move pretty quickly because you can jump like, you know, however many spaces in a row you can in a single move. But it'll also be in the same line, so if you have to move around, it's different. Bishop and rooks are also very quick, depending on the geometry of the level. Like a rook. Especially if it's thinner, you'd have to kind of make a couple of zigzagged movements to get out from here, whereas a bishop can just diagonal for long distances. But in here, especially before I made the modifications, rotating these and so forth, the bishop would get caught really quickly. It'd be really hard, like, it would get caught a lot, right? Because it's, you know, well, imagine trying to move a bishop, let's say down this quarter here. It's up and move here, up, move there, up, move there, up, move there, up, move there, right? There's not really any way you can get a whole lot of movement in a single direction, because then you hit a wall, you have to turn around. So that's the concept of the game. So now we're going to quickly load up the model we were working on last time. And I have to remember which one it was. I think it was Decoration Balcony. Yep. Okay. So there's actually a couple models here. So there's one model here, one model there, and one model there. I can probably join these two if I want, but I'm not sure if I do. And if it all works out, these should fit perfectly. In the gaps I have here, because in game these four and these four tiles are disabled. I'm actually hoping at some point, as I've been saying a couple times, to have this be free rotating, and the angle that it points would affect the fountains in the waterfall. Cosmetically, not actually, like from a gameplay standpoint, the direction that these things will kind of blow as they fall, implying that there's a, you know, simulated wind in this virtual space. Yeah, and I also have to figure out how to fix as it stands right now, we're having some problems light mapping and saving the level. Might be because of all of the road textures we have. I mean, because we have a lot of objects. Oh, actually, now I'm thinking of it. I should probably look up here. Let's see if the no new version. See if there's a new version of Unreal Engine out. They're preparing 4.17. I still gotta fix 4.16 too. Anyway, let's get going. I think it's probably good enough for now. Maybe at some point I'll make some banners or something to fall down there. That should be kind of cute if I have some, you know, voxel kind of waving pattern or something like that for the animation, to make it look like wind blowing the banner. The difficult part, though, would be making it be driven by the same vector as the rest of the wind. Sorry to hear that, Amir. Okay, so I believe each of these is a meter long. Okay, so let's start with unwrapping this. Yeah, this is gonna be the corner of the castle. Object mode, let's hide you and you. The few milliseconds you can see it clearly. That sucks. Okay, so let's disable our movement widget so we don't accidentally click on something and modify it. Because one of the things about our style is that it really needs to be kind of perfect in the length and width. Because if it's off, then we're going to have some the voxels aren't going to line up. As a developer, do I see a bright future for cryptocurrency? I can't really speak as a developer for that. It's a bit out of my domain. But, yeah, I'm just gonna mark these 4 seams here, so that way it kind of unfolds into kind of a plus sign pattern, because these are fairly small and the width is not gonna be, or no, vertically, so it's not gonna take up that much extra space. And it'll be good to have it. Will it be good to have it? No, it won't, because this is facing the bottom. Okay. You can't see that, so why would I spend all that texture resolution on it? Now this one I will. Or no, because that's gonna have a platform on top as well. No, okay. Yeah, that'd be bad. So let's mark the seam too. So this one, this face, and this face I'm gonna make very small now I think of it, because I don't really care about much lighting detail on it. It's gonna be underneath something, so it's gonna be all black detail because there's not gonna be any light seeing it, right? So let's grab all faces and deselect these, and then do unwrap, and then I can fit this and this here. Excuse me? No. You know what? Let's go there. There I was trying to... rotate there. Oh no! To add a little bit of immersion so that it yeah, and again these two faces won't matter too much because, well, yeah. So there. is gonna be a problem now that I think of it. Actually gonna be a real problem because it didn't add an extra map. Okay. Okay. Now you. Again, we don't care much about the size here because it's not going to be visible. It won't ever see light, so why do we need to have a very detailed light map for something they'll literally never see light? There we are. So that solved the problem. Okay, now we can export it into selected objects only. We can export it into I don't know why I do check it cross stream to begin with. Oh, you can't see that anyway. Don't know why I do check it cross stream to begin with. A lot of these here. Just adds extra stuff because my, you know, my folder structure takes care of that data for me. Import. Now meshes. See if I was right. Looks like I was. Okay. She looks like I wasn't right. But in a way it didn't matter. I was intending to have this point be out here. But it works. I thought it was from this side looking in, but around there. Okay, now I need to add a material to this. Oh, and I should also check out the light map resolution as well. Might be good enough for... Actually, might be good enough. That should be good enough. Considering the size of details I have on it. So each of these squares is 1 pixel. And by default, it assigns 64 by 64. XD. Adobe XD. Voxel pillar. Castle. No, voxel size will be 100 centimeters. We're gonna turn off all of the offsets. Stay there. RIP Flash, yep. Okay. Let's do So it looks like it's off on all axes from what I saw, although I wasn't paying too much attention, so let's see how this works. No, I was wrong. So the V is fine, but the U's are now aligned. Okay, so I need to fix the V, or rather, unfix the V. So the one with the YZ, the one with the Z axis is the one that's broken. There we are. Cool. That's one done. Now I gotta add another one on top, or the rest of the mesh on top there. So we'll save this. Go back to object mode. Turn that one on, turn that one off. Edit mode. Sure. And then we'll grab you, you, mark seam, grab you, and let's try to dissolve the edges. All right. Good. Actually, I should probably cut this up into smaller pieces, so you and you, let's mark seam there. Probably a bit more efficient on texture space. Now for this one I want to have, I mean, you're not going to be able to see the bottom of this, but I still want to have it have lighting detail. Just in case there's any like weird, will there be a reflection? Because it's all screen space. Either way, it's, you know, I'm going to leave it in. Oh, it might be in VR. In VR, it might matter if you can look under and up. So yeah, that'd be a problem. Okay. Now we need to triangulate this. Okay. Now we're going to do unwrap. How efficient. How do I set the dimension of the object in Blender? Basically, I know that because of my art style, everything needs to be some... for correct scale of objects between them. You could be asking one of two things. So you can be asking about my art style, or you can be asking about Unreal Engine importing from Blender, and that's two different things, even though they're kind of related in some way. So for my art style, although I really should explain the air one first, because the air one kind of is dependent on the air one. Well, yeah. You know, I'll just say that first. So for exporting from Blender to Unreal Engine, there is settings for space, and if you set it up to centimeters, when you do things in centimeters and you export into Unreal using the default settings on a scene that's set to centimeters, it will come over 1-to-1 units. So even if you know how many Unreal Engine units you want it to be in, that's centimeters. So if you have it in Blender in centimeters and you do everything on a centimeter basis, you're fine. You do that through the scene property here, and unit presets would be centimeters, which would make a metric, and unit scale is 0.01. So that'd be 1-to-1 going through it if you use the default FBX export. Now if you're asking about my art style, like how do I make sure things line up with a voxel, the material is set to tile the texture for axis aligned objects, such as a seam always hits exactly such as the seam always hits exactly on increments of the voxel size. So if I start at 0, and I have a lot of offsets, so I'm allowed a uniform offset for the entire material, which you see me messing around with every once in a while. So if I know that one thing is here, and that's the center, and I know the voxel size is 50 centimeters, every 50 centimeters I go, there will be a tile of the texture. So if I want to have the side of, like for example here, I'm intending this to be a 1 meter, yeah. So I do the meshes in Blender and color them in UE4. There's a material that automatically unwraps and colors the objects. As a matter of fact, you don't really do any material editing in Blender itself. A lot of times, if you want to have something that is like specially drawn, you can do it in Blender. There's painting tools, but a lot of times you move it out into Substance or Quixel, and you do the texturing there using the various material libraries, and then you take that and you export that to Unreal Engine. So from Blender to Quixel or Substance, I use Substance. I've only used it a couple times, but still. And then from that to Blender, and from that to Unreal, and then you apply the material as it is. But the way I have it set up right now is for ease of use and stuff like that, I have the material automatically unwrap. Yeah. I mean, Substance is not free. It's fairly cheap. It's $20 a month after the first month. And they have some rent-to-own sort of thing, so if you keep subscribing for a period of time, they'll eventually let you keep certain versions, even if you stop subscribing. You can paint in Blender, but okay, so I discussed about this in the past, but obviously it's, interesting topic, so let's talk about it again. How 3D modeling these days is done is not nearly as complicated as it used to be, where you're drawing the maps individually. So what happens is you typically take, especially if you're doing photogrammetry, you use your photo to material pipeline, however you want to have it set up, which one of them is called B2M. I'll just show it to you here. In the old days, like if you remember Crazy Bump, this is a very similar program to Crazy Bump. But Substance B2M is where you take a photo and it generates the base color, ambient occlusion, metal map, roughness map, and normal map. And then you can import those into either directly into Unreal if you want, but chances are you're not going to want to do that. Chances are you're going to want to take a tiling material of wood grain or metal or a plastic ball or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. And once you get those maps from your photograph, you can then import them as material, and then you paint the material, stencil on the material onto the object itself. So let's say you wanted to make a let's say you want to make an oil barrel that's rusted. You would take a base material of maybe cast iron to work, but you probably want to use something like probably an iron or something like that. But that's not rusted, right? So you'd assign the material to it, and it would paint the entire thing, and you'd be able to tile and do some things like that. But then you take a rust material, rusted iron or whatever material, and you then stencil on the rust marks onto that barrel afterwards. And the program, Substance or Quixel, would, based on, assuming you have unique UVs, it's difficult if you want to wrap them. You can do that by having masks, but they're really designed for you to eventually make it down to a unique UV map. And you would it would then be like, okay, so for this one texture element texel, it is a bit of this part of the rust material from this section of that texture, and there's a little bit of the iron below visible as well. That all combines in the base color map to this one, in the metallic map to this, in the roughness map to this, and the normal map to this, etc., 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 etc. And it would paint those base color, like albedo, roughness, normal maps for you, and they dump them all into a material, and then you take that material off. So you don't have to draw each of these channels anymore. You just basically stencil on the materials you need, and you can do some hand drawing afterwards as well. Like there's, if you want to have like stitches for sewing or whatever, you can add those on afterwards, and then it would take all of those into different maps for you. So yeah, it's a new way of doing it. Since we're in PBR workflow these days, which is a really good way of doing things, because it's lighting independent, it ends up being very quick to, because you don't need to worry much about each of the individual textures. You just have a material library and you stencil it onto the object as you need, and then the program generates those maps you need for each texture element in the resulting texture. And the program you'd use to create the material would be B2M, unless you use one of the libraries. They have a bunch of library stuff as well. Like substance sources here. Yeah, so they have, like, for example, rusty iron here, Crema Valencia marble, cherrywood floor, and that sort of stuff. They have a whole bunch of these, and you just, layer them on as you need. So it's an interesting way of doing things these days, but in my case, it's done by a normal map we created in Blender from a higher resolution mesh. Just tiles. Higher resolution was like an extra, 200 polygons. And it just tiles on world space, so, because we have a voxel art style, so it makes it a bit easier for us, right? Yeah, it was kind of charming in my opinion. So hoping it'd be a little bit more efficient with the light maps, but this is all I can do. I can't see any obvious way I can optimize it. Yep. So let's save that, and let's Okay. As a matter of fact, if you assign UV coordinates to this, my material throws them out. It doesn't use that for UVs. Okay, save. Okay, export, FBX. Selected object still selected. Balcony, floor. So why don't I Discord? Honestly, it just never really came up. So now we have that in here. We can then grab this here. There we are. Now I could just copy the transform from the previous one, but I did negative 220, not 200. Come on. There we are. I just copy the transform, but I mean, it's so easy to just grab it there. Okay. That's actually backwards. This one will matter, so fair. Let's see if I can get away with using the same material. I'm not sure because I did the rotation. No, I can't. Crap. Duplicates. Did I send the wrong one? Oh, right, yeah, I did. I have no idea, Perk. Okay, now let's go back to Blender. Oh, actually, should probably check our texture resolution. Light map density. It should be safe. We'll see if that's sufficient. Don't think it will be, but we'll see. And then over here, let's grab this here. And let's... okay. Oh, no idea. So let's, how am I gonna cut this up? You know what? It's gonna be a lot of seams, but we'll see. Actually, for this, we should just make sure we're in. Oh, we're not in 1:1 scale. Crap. Okay. Okay. Let's there we are. I don't need to name it light map, but I just do it for myself. Blender, or sorry, Unreal doesn't actually care. Sometimes people like use materials that have certain names for special functions, but it's not like that for Unreal. I'll just do it for my own sake. Now we're gonna do export FBX. Yeah, I know I can use tab, but yeah. And also, I think Shift Tab to switch between. Oh, what was it again? What mode was that again? I know it was useful when I was doing the animation stuff. I can't remember. Oh, here we are. Yeah, Shift Z for rendering mode. Yeah, it was like that. That's good. Cool. Okay. Import all. Now let's see which material will work. If it's gonna be the pillar or the floor. I'm gonna say the pillar will be the one that works. No, I was wrong. Or neither of them will work, of course. Make a fool out of me, why don't you? Okay. Let's do duplicate here. Okay. So now the offsets. I'm gonna go up an extra 25 centimeters probably. So 75 here, 75 here, and then apply that there. Oh, another way around. There we are. Okay. Wait a minute. Why is that broken? Oh, you're right. I was gonna do 50 centimeters for this one. There we are. Because I think it was because I was gonna have bars there as well. I don't remember what I was doing last episode. Regardless, let's look at light map density. Should probably increase that a little bit. Because I have so many seams, I want to mask them. Easy way to do that, just add more data, right? Maybe a little frozen for a bit. There we are. I really need to fix a lot of these geometry errors, like here. But I also want to actually ship it. Okay, so let's build lighting. Hello, welcome to the chat. I click build. It does map check. We have an error. Lighting needs to be built. That's what I pressed the button to do! Thanks, Unreal. Thanks, Unreal. Now we can watch Swarm Agent do its thing. Oh. Oh, that was something I already answered. Okay. I should probably check out the Patreon and look up the information for LGC Discord. I don't use Discord too much unless I'm looking for like Unreal Engine help or something like that. Or I'm helping someone with Unreal Engine. There's a couple of questions recently about like spawning objects and stuff like that, so I was helping with that. This is a very useful image that helps you understand how Unreal Engine 4 is structured. So engine is kind of the top, and it goes down from there. Yeah, I still have that image. Yeah, it's very useful. So they're asking about storing data between between sessions, and they're like, "Oh, well, game instance is kind of the only place you can do it." Not really. You can spawn any object associated with engine, because I mean, like, game instance didn't ship with Unreal Engine 4. It came in like 4.6 or 4.7 or something like that. Before that, you had to make your own. The problem is that if you do an actor, then it's going to want to stick around with the world. There is seamless level loading, which basically means keeping the game mode around, and you can associate things with the game mode and keep it going, and have the game mode move from map to map. Yeah. You don't need to do that. It's only if they need to be an actor for some reason, which is typically for replication. For that sort of thing. That's weird. I'm not having all my threads work. Weird. So actually I was thinking that possibly my reason for having a problem with shutting down the engine, because asking our people like, oh, if you close me out, or like it doesn't really close down, and people are like, oh, so it must be frozen if you wait for it to unfreeze, do this. I'm like, no, it's not frozen, I can click around. You know, I can do anything but press the close button. I do not have two machines for light building now. This is all done in one machine. I even have two encoders going right now for the video. One for my hard drive to put in YouTube, which again I'm still behind on, and another one going to a Twitch. So they're two different encoding streams. The main reason being that Twitch, because I haven't gotten around to filling out the tax information for my affiliate program yet, because I don't even know what that entails. I should check it out sometime soon. Yeah. So since I don't know what I'm going to be streaming at, I have to give it a lower bit rate so that all of my viewers can browse it, because I don't know if I'm going to have re-encodings, right? Which is a problem. So anyway, what I was saying, I think I figured out the problem with closing the engine, because not a lot of people, complain about it. But I'm having a problem saving my light maps as well, so I'm wondering if for some reason the save is going through, but it's not fully saving. there's some things that are not being saved, and that's locked. And so the engine's not going to want to close the editor until that's been done. And so we're not able to ever actually close the editor, which would be a problem if I ever want to save my light maps. So we'll have to see about that. Anyway, while we're waiting for that to go through, I have to think a little bit about, well, a couple things. First off, we have to make these meshes probably associated with an actor, and have that actor disappear when notice my camera just happens to slide underneath it easily. Have the actor disappear when it gets too close, so that way, like around here, so that way you can still see the models, the pieces. And I'll do the same thing with the cathedral as well. Anyway, right, so there's a bunch of things I can do. And at some point I'm going to want to change the tiles as well, because as you can see from the tile here, it's quite a bit of geometry that you can't really see, and it also doesn't match the art style. Now we chose this kind of razor edge style. So I'm thinking instead of a round ones, if we have it kind of, you know, here, so basically like rectangle and then another rectangle, well, parallelogram, then rectangle, rectangle, parallelogram, so one, so yeah, two triangles, 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 and then two triangles in the bottom. It'll cut down the triangle count significantly, and when we combine them into, for VR especially, into fewer number of draw calls, because they'll be like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this chunk of I can't be right. So yeah, here. So this chunk of tiles would all be rendered together, which would be a fewer number of draw calls, fairly small draw calls, especially since you're going to be able to see all of them at any given time, just by nature of the way the map is structured, where there's a regular period of tiles. Can make it go a lot quicker than it is right now. Forgot how many polygons is here, so let's go to the wireframe mode here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. It was like 200 polygons or whatever it was, and I can cut it down to like 20, right? And cut down the number of draw calls by a factor of like 64. But that will require me redoing the material as well for them, where I can then pass in a value. It'll be difficult because it 32-bit, right? Although if I pass in 4 32-bit values, I have to think of some way I can send the data in, is what I'm trying to say. It'd be easier if I did 32 in a batch, but then I'd have 4x8, so I'd have to kind of, you know, maybe rectangular instead of square, which is not a big deal, but... And I double my draw calls, but I double it from like 100 to 200, right? But no, I don't have two machines doing lighting building. I only have one machine doing everything. So it's not really that high in a machine either. I mean, it's got a 1080 in it, so it's a good video card, but the processor is just Devil's Canyon. I have a second video card in it too, in a GTX 670, which I think I use for encoding. Now if I get something like Threadripper, that'd be a different story. Or a full-on epic. I need either a Threadripper or a 9. Thanks, Mir. Thanks for the justification. We had a chart, cores versus cores. Scores, right? Nah, if I would get it, I'd just buy it. Depends on the finances going forward, of course. Of course. No. Oh god, just have even worse pun than that. Just don't eat for a couple months, yeah, exactly. Go ahead and be punny. Yeah. Threadripper is multiple CPU dies that are connected by Infinity Fabric. So they're able to make like multiple processors that are linked together within one package. So they don't have to manufacture bigger dies, because if you have bigger dies, you have worse yield, right? They're not really glued together, they're just connected by Infinity Fabric on, which are kind of like PCI Express lanes. Really high bandwidth. Yeah, don't talk about it, yeah. Oh, Intel, okay, yeah. NVIDIA is even considering doing that for GPUs as well. Yeah. NVIDIA is considering doing that for GPUs as well. Probably not consumer, because if you have multiple of the most expensive part of a GPU, you're probably going to have a more expensive GPU, right? And people are already complaining about the prices that it is. Imagine having multiple, like, a 1080 Ti is like $700 or $800 US. Let's have 4 of them on one package, right? I wonder how much that would cost, right? Hi, welcome to the chat. Just so people know, if you're new to the stream, I don't say hi by name unless you speak in chat, because I don't know if you're lurking. Wonder how tall that would be. You mean the GPU? The GPU wouldn't be much taller. It's all in the package, right? And the package is actually fairly small. I mean, I'd say fairly small. Like, you can, like, I think it was what Threadripper can like fit in your hand. Like, it's pretty big in that size of thing, but it's like, in the realm of an entire add-on card. I should even have an add-on board. 1 second. 1 second. now milled cards are all put away in boxes, it looks like. And I'm not going to open up a box just to make a point. You all seen what a video card looks like. But in the realm of add-on card, it's not that big. Now, they may have to make it a bit bigger to compensate for the extra cooling. They'd probably go depth instead of height, though. Although, that being said, you can get some pretty high-end coolers on GPUs, especially if you... like, if you look at, for example, a lot of the NVIDIA Tesla ones that are supposed to go in a server rack, they're technically passively cooled, even though they dissipate like hundreds of watts. But that's because the server itself has air blowing straight through it really quick, and it basically ends up being like a radiator going down the side of the card. So if you know that your server is going to have good airflow going through it, that's directed like straight through the card, then you can do it passively, right, without water cooling or anything like that, because essentially the card itself will be a radiator. You can also do blowers that are pretty, not blowers, but like, you know, big old copper, like 3 fans or whatever, that are good at cooling high amounts too. But yeah, liquid would be even better. There's other things you can do as well, but yeah. How do I say that though? Looks like there's a gap, but that's just the outline. I think this will probably be sufficient for a castle. I'll do something similar for the cathedral. I need to work on the base. I might also need to fix the number of light maps we have too. I mean, we have 4,000 of them with the tiles. Actually, like probably like 3,000 of them. Number I've disabled. So maybe I'll actually have to disable shadowing, like receiving shadows on the tiles. I forgot how to do that directly, but yeah, I'd see the option if I knew. Let's see here. Yeah, cash out is fine, but it's a good question. How do we make it cast but not receive shadows? Okay, so no. Oh, what? Alright, because it would have to... Yeah, it's baked in the light map, so yeah. It has to be dynamically lit. Right, oh yeah, it has to be dynamically lit. Yeah. Oh, apply now. I mean, it'll go easier if we can combine the tiles into multiple meshes, so we can combine, you know, 3,000 light maps into, like, 100. Save and hope we actually can save. Hello, welcome to the chat, Big O. I use their name by name because they've talked before. Let's not see how it plays with their camera. I got a feeling I'm not gonna be able to fit underneath there. That's actually not that bad. Even though you can still see, unless you're going from this angle here. It's probably high enough I don't really care that much. Don't mind me, I should be lurking. Way to troll me, Big O, I know what you're implying. It's the reason why I don't say people my name in stock and chats, because I don't want them to be, you know, offended if they're lurking and, you know, feel like they have to leave or something like that. And it seems like Big O knows that and he's trolling me with it. Wait a minute, what was that? Some rendering artifacts here. See that? Flickering in. Or it's disappearing. It's not my, you know, well, not my fault. It's not something I can control really necessarily. It's just how Unreal Engine draws things, but so I'm thinking I might need to do the I need to do the mass for sure. So yeah, while we're waiting for it to try to close and hopefully save the light map, we're gonna have to then look at this here. So let's do a screen capture of this. Let's open up Photoshop. Put in an anime. Speaking of flickering, your display is starting to flicker. Yeah, I don't know about that, unfortunately. I don't know if what that would be. So, try as I might, Doesn't look like Unreal Engine actually wants to close. Let's just try this. Let's try opening a new level. Line easier build. I don't know what your problem is. I just built the lighting. This problem's been happening since 4.16. Should check it out. You know what? Let's check it out right now. So that's not my problem, but let's see if it's the same issue. Let's do lighting. Needs to be rebuilt. Everything. Sort by time. Do what was it again? It was built data. Number of light maps. You know what? Let's see if it occurs in a package build. Package project Windows 64-bit. Check it's 4166. Good thing we don't have 66 of these builds, huh? Alright, so let's see there. Because if I can ship it without, you know, having lighting issues, then I don't have to fix it before the, I'll fix it at some point, but I won't fix it before the demo. Holy crap! CMD close slate mainframe. Well, I may have found the problem with the editor not closing. No, if it was 666 builds, then it would be 416, 666. So that'd be 4 sixes. If it's 66, there'd be 3 sixes. So anyway, something is really messed up with this. There. And then here. There we are. Yeah, so this is probably what's causing the editor to not want to shut down. Okay, so this is clearly not working as intended. So it's clearly not going to shut down on its own, so I'll have to kill the task. Anyway, while we're waiting, let's grab the build we just did and see if it's lit properly. Of course, we need to copy a registered map folder over. And we'll load up. see here. But yeah, it's possible we just had... Oh, it says still as line needs to be rebuilt. Well, it still appears in the package build then, apparently. Does it look fine now? Still have to fix the... it looks like it looks fine. What about the 240 unbuilt objects are? Let's do stat FPS. So we're still getting... Oh, you can't see. So we're getting pretty high FPS still. Staying over 90, even when this is all visible. If you stay over 90, you're pretty good when it comes to VR, so that's good. Although I need to get high resolution. Needs more FERPs, yeah. It'll get more FERPs when I fix the tiles. Nope, more cores won't help this one. It'll be modifying my geometry. Maybe a faster individual core might help a little bit, because it's probably CPU bottlenecked. Might be GPU bottlenecked, although it's a 1080, so I doubt it. I think it's CPU bottlenecked. Number of draw calls. Well, actually not number of draw calls, because we can't really see this. But yeah. We'll have to deal with that. Unfortunately, I can't do that when we're streaming. That'll take a little time of bringing the map offline. But I can package it even if I have an error in the first couple builds. Where it says line needs to be rebuilt, that should be fine. I'll just say in my post, by the way, there's a couple bugs we couldn't fix on stream, so they're going to be fixed afterwards. People should understand, be like, hey, this guy is doing everything on stream. He's trying to be entertaining. There are some things he just can't do until later. Like Steam support. I can't have Steam support yet. Right, well, Okay. Well, it killed enough time as it is, so next time we're going to be working on the cathedral. We literally have nothing else to do in this map. For the initial release, I can put, you know, some interesting things like banners and stuff like that later on, grass and whatever. But not just yet. And we'll see how much people care if I put it on, you know, P's Perspective and tweet it out and get people to talk about it. Free video game, hey! And no one cares, then that will dictate the type of development I'll do with it in the future. But if people love it, then that'll be a different story altogether. Tux equals bucks. Yeah, I do want Linux support. Which is funny because I'm like, oh, I love it, you know, Linux support for long-term, you know, artistic relevance and so forth, because you never know when Microsoft's going to pull the plug on Win32 or other APIs and you're stuck, right? Whereas Linux, you know... If something doesn't work on Linux, the entire world, if they care enough, can fix a platform such that it has a stable basis underneath it. because you're spaced on, open platform. But this is not actually anything really artistic. It's a game, right? It doesn't have an actual story. I mean, it's a fun game. You don't want it to go away, but... Or, if it's a fun game, you don't want it to go away, but, It's not like it would have much... maybe it would. Society relevance. Depends on chess, right? So yeah, I need to do the cathedral, then I'm going to need to have cathedral roof, maybe the castle roof, although it seems to be fine anyway. And a stable roof disappear when you get close to it. A roof for the roof, yeah. I heard you like roofs, so I put a roof on your roof. Actually, now that if I make the roof dynamic, probably wouldn't cast a static shadow, and that'd probably solve a lot of my lighting issues too. So maybe I can get away without having the little torches. I'm just kind of talking to myself a little bit, though. Performance is still pretty good. I mean, we can get a lot better, but... yeah. That'll require a little bit more development. I mean, it's not going to be much long time at all. It's just that it's, it's difficult to do it in, like, 3 2-hour segments a week, right? Okay, I guess that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. Just thinking a little bit. It's going to be difficult to combine these meshes into smaller meshes, but yeah. I have to remove static mesh components from the actors and have clusters of actors modify a cluster that contains the static mesh component. So instead of you'll have the same number of actors that will have to be iterated through in the CPU, but the number of actors that are actually drawn in the level would be significantly smaller. So the amount that actually need to be rendered would be smaller. And that would be where the performance would hit. Because when you are doing draw calls, when you start hitting the mid-thousands is when you start having a problem, and we're up past 10,000, so this is hitting hard. Although we don't really notice that much because the camera's never really looking at the entire level, although in VR you can't control that. And now we're having problems with light maps too. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah. Alright. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.